Greetings and thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about Rand Paul's endorsement of Mitt Romney. I'm a huge supporter of Ron Paul. I donated a lot of money to his campaign this year. Not even, just over a month ago, I attended a dinner with Ron Paul, Congressman Paul. You pay for per plate. It's probably the most expensive dinner I've ever had, and I did it because I felt like it was an investment into my children's future. Because of this, as this liberty movement grows, um, we're going to have more candidates in Congress, more candidates in the Senate, more people being awakened and alert to the truth, to what really is going on, and not just believing the propaganda that comes from the mainstream press. Now, Rand Paul's endorsement of Mitt Romney, a lot of people have had some very mean spirited things directed at him, and I understand that, but also directed at his father, and that to me is just, I think that's ridiculous. It's immature, and frankly, some of the things being said, it's disgusting. People are saying that Ron Paul is controlled opposition. This is a man of high integrity, a man with an impeccable voting record of 3 decades, a man who not only talks the talk but walks the walk. The congressman that gives a refund for his budget that they give all these congress people. Congressman that flies coach. And then he does upgrade to first class if he can for free. But I mean, this guy is just 100%. It's a great man, one of the best people in America, lives in the United States, and probably the best congressman we've ever had. So these controlled opposition comments, I mean, I don't know, maybe people, I love the internet, thank God that we have computers and the internet and we get all this information out there, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. And for people, I don't know what conspiracy site or how many YouTube videos you have to watch a day to finally start thinking that Ron Paul is your enemy. But that is absolutely absurd. Now, as far as Rand Paul's endorsement, I think the timing was horrible. I disagree with the endorsement, first of all. I will not vote for Mitt Romney. I think Obama is better for the liberty movement than Mitt Romney, and I'll tell you why at the end of this video. But, uh, you know, when he endorsed Mitt Romney, it really screwed us because number one, we had just had these huge rallies in California and some of these other states, in Texas, for Ron Paul. We had just, like I said, had these expensive dinners, where people are donating money, these lunches. People are donating $500 for a lunch. A month later, you've got the son out there endorsing the other candidate. And I think that was wrong. I think he could have waited. Do I understand that, yes, he wanted to toe the party line and endorse the the candidate? Yeah, I do see some, where you could be strategic about that and say, well, I'll have more credibility in the Republican Party, or if I run for president in 2016, I'll have a lot of credibility because I can say, hey, I endorsed this guy because he said he was going to cut, he didn't cut, and now I'm running against him. But at the same point in time, that could have been done a lot later. It could have been done at the Tampa convention. It could have been done shortly after the Tampa convention. Doing it now, I think it hurts the liberty movement. I don't know why Rand Paul would want to do that when, if you look at what he says and look at what he does, he is absolutely a liberty candidate. And I will support Rand Paul in the future. I will be observant of him now, and I will be watching him to see what he does, and see who he's hanging out with. But as of right now, just because he endorsed Mitt Romney doesn't make me lose, all respect for him and all of a sudden call him a traitor. I look at the guy's actions. The guy's actions are absolutely trying to help this country, trying to help me. And I'm talking about his voting, where he has real power. So he did an endorsement, big deal. It doesn't mean he endorses Mitt Romney's philosophy. It doesn't mean he's going to be out there campaigning for him all over the country, trying to convert people who support the liberty movement to supporting Mitt Romney. No, he'll probably do, a meet and greet in Kentucky, and that's about it. Because I doubt Mitt Romney will even go to Kentucky because that's a slam dunker for him. Let me see what else I had on my list real quick. Okay, as far as Mitt Romney trying to, or somebody saying, well, Rand Paul is trying to do this so he can have credibility to win president later at a later time. I do understand that, but here's the deal: he did not have to do this because if someone would have said in 4 years from now, hey, how come you didn't endorse Mitt Romney? How can you run for the Republican nomination and you didn't endorse the nominee from 3 years ago, 4 years ago? He could have said simply, my dad was running for president. my dad hadn't dropped out. Out of respect for my dad, I didn't endorse. I think that would have been very understandable, and nobody would have questioned that at all. I don't care what radio host out there or whatever, but I mean, come on, your dad's running for president, yeah. So I didn't endorse the other guy. Um, I think Obama is better for the liberty movement than Mitt Romney in this sense. Mitt Romney runs as a conservative, as a free market advocate, as a capitalist, as somebody who says he respects the Constitution, wants to restore American values. So that's a problem because once he gets in office, if he won, he would run the government the same way these last several presidents have for the last several decades, last 100 years, with government intervention policies, with less liberty, more military might across the world, drones over our own borders. So he'd run the same way, and the system, I believe, is going to implode on itself in a matter of months. Not too much longer now. I used to say years, and now I really see it coming down to the wire here. So I would rather it implode on somebody who is happy to be, running around saying we need more government, happy to say that we need more regulations. Because even though Obama and Romney are the same once they're in office, the perception of them is different. The perception of Mitt Romney is that he's a free market guy to the masses. The perception of Obama is that he's a big government guy to the masses. Now they're both big government guys. But when it implodes on it, it's just like Bush. People blame the free market. It collapsed on Bush's term. They deregulated, blah blah blah. Look, so many regulations. It's ridiculous in our country. Bush was not free market. Bush was not a capitalist. That's ridiculous to even say that. So I would rather it implode on the guy whose the perception is that he's big government, because then there's more likelihood that we will have a person rise to power and a person the masses can support that is anti whatever the other guy was perceived to be. So I don't want Mitt Romney to be running the United States or to be the president of the United States when this whole thing collapses, because then the masses are going to say, and the media is going to say, hey, look at what happened. We gave the free market a chance. We gave the capitalism a chance, and it collapsed in our faces. So I don't want that. So I definitely don't want Mitt Romney win. I would prefer Obama win if it's going to be between those two. That's about it. With Rand Paul again, I'm going to observe him. I wouldn't call him a traitor. It was a really stupid thing to do. But do we really judge people on one thing that they do? I mean, it really disgusts me, some of the stuff on YouTube and the blogs, where people turn on people because they do one thing they disagree with. One thing they disagree with, and all of a sudden they hate him, and they're a traitor, and they're controlled opposition, and they're part of the Bilderberg movement. It's like, whoa, 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 just calm down here, guys. Okay, so Rand Paul made a mistake, but he's not our enemy. Certainly not yet. Give him a reason to be our enemy besides just saying, okay, I'm going to vote for Mitt Romney. I can name off a list of libertarians and people in the liberty movement who endorsed George W. Bush, who endorsed Ronald Reagan, who endorsed the first George Bush. A list of them, people who many of you would call heroes, and I would call heroes. And they endorsed those guys too. So, I don't know what Rand Paul's strategy is totally yet. We'll know later as we see the years go by. But maybe Rand Paul said, my father was on the outskirts his entire political life and wasn't able to get much done internally in government. Maybe he's trying to do it a different way. Ron Paul went the strategy of let's cut the snake's head off, and Rand Paul, maybe he's going, let's change the snake's skin. I think with the liberty movement, with the people that are getting in office now, there is a real chance for change. And I don't know if there's enough time, but maybe the catalyst, maybe the collapse will be a catalyst for these people to even have more influence. See, I told you so. It was going to collapse. There was going to be a currency crisis. There was going to be a debt crisis. So I guess my 2 cents on this is I hope people will think twice before all of a sudden they throw Rand, under the bus and just tell, everybody, they hate him. He's a traitor, and they'll never trust him again. Look at the guy's voting record. You just can't beat it. I mean, that is a 100% liberty person out there in the Senate, voting and proposing bills for the liberty movement. He made a mistake. He did not endorse Mitt Romney's philosophies. And in the end, he will have a lot of credibility when he starts talking trash about Mitt Romney, which I would expect him, if he is not turned, or it's not something, like the conspiracy sites have alleged, I would expect Rand Paul to talk ugly of Mitt Romney within 2 years, because Mitt Romney will run this government the same way Obama has. So that's my 2 cents. Later, guys.